Hi everyone, I'm Steven.
I'm Minnie.
And welcome to Enjoy English School. Today we're going to be on the date of December 21st, and the topic is culture, and the title is The Two Faces of Christmas.
那我们今天12月21号的主题是文化之窗。那我们今天的主题很有趣哦，叫做双面圣诞节。
Right, so please refer to pages 42 to 43, and the subtitle is There's More to Christmas Characters Than You Think.
那我们今天在42到43页的部分，然后我们今天的主题，它要讲的是圣诞节的人物意义，其实比你想象中的还要多更多。
Right, so when something is more than you think, that means that it is not as simple as you think. It is more complex.
对，更复杂一点点。
So what's complex about Christmas?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yes.
Let's get started. Christmas is one of the most widely celebrated holidays in the West.
那圣诞节呢，是西方国家中最被广泛庆祝的节日之一。
Right. So here, this Christmas, even though it starts with CH, it's not Tristmas, okay? It's Christmas, so we ignore the H. Also, we ignore the T, okay? So Christmas, okay? You don't have to go Christmas, okay? And what do we mean by most widely celebrated? Widely, this adverb, it means that it is done or it is known by everyone or by a lot of people, okay? So if Minnie 老师 is widely known for being beautiful, that means that it is known by a lot of people, it is that she is beautiful, okay? So this Christmas, this holiday, it is widely celebrated.
那在这边我们看到 widely 这个字 ，wide 本身就是宽阔的意思嘛，加了 ly 之后变成副词 ，widely 就是被广泛的知道，代表大家都知道，街头巷尾都知道的。那在这边我们可以看到另外一个 is one of the most widely celebrated. Is celebrated 就是被庆祝，因为圣诞节它不会自己庆祝自己嘛，所以我们这边用一个被动语态的写法。
Right. And here we see in the West. You could also say that Christmas is one of the most widely celebrated holidays in Western countries, right? But if you want to use a different way to say that, you could just call Western countries the West, okay? And make sure you capitalize West because in this context, it is the name of a location, of an area.
How do you spell Western?
A Western is W-E-S-T-E-R-N, and you don't have to capitalize the W.
所以在用 Western 的时候呢，我们 W 是不需要大写的。
Right, and a lot of times when people say like, when they're talking about Eastern countries, they will say in the East, okay? Okay, 就是东方国家. All right, let's continue. A well-known symbol of the event is Santa Claus, also called Saint Nick.
那一个著名的圣诞节象征，也就是我们很著名的圣诞老人，那他又被称为 Saint Nick， 就是圣尼克。
So what do we mean by well-known? This is an adjective that also means famous, okay? So a famous symbol of the event is another way that you could say that. So well-known, it means the same thing as famous.
有名的。
So a famous symbol of the event is Santa Claus, and also called, we could also say, also known as, okay? K-N-O-W-N, second word A-S, and also known as Saint Nick. You often see this as well.
那 also called 也可以用 known as， 也就是被视为、被认识为，那就是也是用圣尼克这样的名字去认识他。
Right, so Saint, a lot of times we also will abbreviate this to ST period. Okay, so when you see ST period in front of a name, it often means saint, okay? But if you see ST at the end of an address,
street,
that means street, S-T-R-E-E-T. So you have to pay attention to where it is being used, okay?
所以我们这边 S-A-I-N-T Saint 这个字写成缩写是 S-T， 然后再一个缩写点。但是如果你在写地址看到 S-T 一个缩写点的话，那这个时候就不是当圣咯，它就会当成是路名的意思 street。
Yes. All right, let's continue. Legend has it that Santa Claus is a cheerful old man with a thick white beard.
所以呢 ，Legend has it， 传说中的圣诞老人呢，是一名有着一脸茂密雪白胡子的一个老人。
Right. So legend has it that something, something, something. Another way you could say that is according to legend. Santa Claus is a cheerful old man. Okay, so if you use according to legend, you don't need that. Okay, and these both mean the same thing. According to legend and legend has it that. And it all just means in Chinese.
就是传说中据说的意思。
对，据说的意思。So because Santa Claus might not exist. So it's a legend.
You're not supposed to say that.
Okay, but he does exist. He is alive. Santa Claus is alive. But because he's a legend, that's why we say legend has it that Santa Claus is a cheerful. So what do we mean by cheerful?
就是代表他是一个很开心、很高兴，那
Right.
带给别人喜乐的。
Because when you cheer, this verb, it means to like kind of 帮别人打气。
加油！
加油, that's cheering, okay? So when you're full of cheer, that means you're somebody who brings a lot of happiness to people, okay? So a lot of times we will say Santa Claus is a cheerful, happy old man, okay? Another adjective we also can use is bright. Okay,
Bright.
He's cheerful and bright. What do we mean by bright? Bright can mean that you're smart. Okay, he's very bright. That could mean that he's intelligent. But bright can also be an adjective to describe someone's character, their personality. They're very, it's very nice to be around them because they're happy all the time. They're like a bright light in the darkness.
对，所以 bright 除了可以当做聪明使用以外，你也可以说别人的个性很 bright， 就代表这个人，他只要一出现，感觉好像为这个空间点亮一盏灯，就像老师一样。
Oh, thank you. Okay, and at the very end, the two adjectives to describe Santa Claus's beard are thick and white. Okay, a lot of times, most of the times when there are two adjectives right next to each other,
颜色
we will have to put a comma, like thick, comma, funny beard. But when there is a color involved, that's when you don't need a comma. Okay, so that is a rule that you need to remember. Okay, so when there are two adjectives next to each other that aren't colors, you need a comma. When there are two adjectives and one of them is a color, you don't need a comma.
所以在这边老师讲到一个非常重要的一个点，当你用了2个或3个形容词，通常我们中间都会有一个逗号。但如果你要讲的形容词是有相关于颜色的，那我们就不需要使用逗号。
He dresses in a red suit and brings gifts to good children on the night of December 24th.
那这边的 he 指的就是我们讲的 Santa Claus， 对不对？圣诞老人他身穿红色的衣服，然后会在12月24号当晚分送礼物给很乖的小孩哦。
Right, so dresses in a red suit. You could also say he wears a red suit. And if you use wear, you don't need in. Okay, so wear is W-E-A-R. Also here, the word for gift, you could also use present. P-R-E-S-E-N-T. They mean the same thing. Okay, he is said to travel around the world in his sleigh with the help of his flying reindeer.
那这边看到 is say to， 也是有点像据说的意思，所以他据说呢会借着飞行这个麋鹿的帮忙，然后呢就坐着雪橇环游世界分送礼物。
Right, so here, 雪橇 in English, sleigh, the A sound comes out. The EI makes an A sound, and the GH is silent. Okay, so sleigh, with the help of his flying reindeer. The rain and reindeer, it sounds like 雨水的那个 rain, R-A-I-N. But just pay attention, it's spelled R-E-I-N, reindeer. Okay, let's take a short break. This character was in part inspired by a real-life saint from history.
那这个人物的灵感其实一部分是来自于历史上真的一个真实存在的一个圣人。
Right. So here, pay attention to the word character. Just like Christmas, the CH is not ch. It's a hard C sound. Okay. And what do we mean by in part? Okay. Another word you could use here is partly.
Partly.
Okay, this character was partly inspired by a real-life saint. But if you use this way of saying it, in part, a good way for people to hear the difference of what you're saying, you have to go upwards when you say part, like this. This character was, in part, okay, inspired by, and it's good to have a pause there. okay, so people can understand what you mean. Inspired by a real-life saint. What do we mean by real life? That means that this person actually existed, okay? He actually existed in real life. So we'll use real life as an adjective in this sentence.
那在这边老师有特别强调，我们讲英文的时候，那个 intonation 很重要嘛。那像 in part 它可以用 partly， 但是如果你要用 in part， 通常我们语调会往上扬 in part， 然后再做一个停顿，让别人知道你接下来要讲的事情，所以就inspire 再继续往下讲。所以 in part 上扬，停顿再继续往下讲。接下来第二个看到的是 real life 这一个复合的，它是形容词当做形容词使用，代表说它是本来就存在的。
Saint Nicholas was a bishop in the 4th century.
那在这边 bishop 是主教的意思，所以他说圣尼可拉他是一个4世纪时的一个主教。
He was Greek, and he lived in the town of Dimre, which is now part of Turkey.
那他是 Greek 希腊人，住在戴姆雷的城镇上面。那现在呢是位在于这个土耳其的境内。
Right. So when someone is from Greece, Greece, which is the name of the country, which is 希腊, okay, they are Greek.
希腊的或希腊人，我们会把后面的 ce 改成 k.
Yeah, so pay attention, okay? Like this is something that a lot of my friends get mixed up sometimes. They don't know when to use like either Taiwan or Taiwanese,
German,
or German, or
Germany.
Germany, right? So sometimes you have to pay attention which one is the name of the country and then which one is the adjective to describe someone from that country. So in this situation, the name of the country is Greece.
Greece.
Greece. And then things or people from Greece are Greek. Greek.
所以 ce 是国家名称 ，k 呢是代表它的形容词或者是那个国家就是希腊人。
Right. So here also the name of this town, my Greek is not very good, okay? But I looked it up and it's supposedly pronounced Dimre.
Dimre.
Okay, but if you read that as an American, we probably would say Demri.
Dimre.
Demri or something, but it's Dimre.
Dimre.
Okay, which is now part of Turkey. So it's now this town is not really
Greek.
all Greek. It's not all in Greece. Okay, now it's part of Turkey as well because as time goes on, like a lot of the landscape, the geographic landscapes are changing. Okay, so sometimes because of history, things like this aren't always going to stay the same.
4th century now it's like what
21st
century. Wow.
Yeah, so it's been 17 centuries.
17个世纪以前跟现在地理环境当然不一样，所以现在部分以前可能是希腊城镇，现在已经是属于可能土耳其了。
Things are going to change, right? He was very religious and spent all of his life learning about and working with the church.
Religious 就代表他是一个有信仰、很虔诚的意思，所以这个句子呢是在说他有着虔诚的信仰，而且终其一生学习，而且投入于教堂的服务。
Right. So here, when you say that you are spending time, okay, make sure that you know that when you say 你在花时间是 spend time, but the past tense of spend is spent. Okay, spent time. Here we're not saying time, but we're saying all of his life. Life is time.
Yeah,
basically.
lifetime.
Okay, you're spending your life. You're spending the time of your life. Okay, so that's why it's okay to say spent all of his life or spent his life doing something. So what did he spend his life doing? Learning about the church and working with the church. Here, pay attention. Not only when you have two different verbs do you need an and in the middle. Okay, you have to pay attention to the preposition words that you need to go with this verb. Okay, for in this sentence, we see learning about the church and working with the church. So you couldn't just use the same preposition word for both of these verbs. So it's okay to end that segment with a preposition, like learning about, okay, and end it there, and working with. the church.
所以老师在这边讲的也是一个很重要的观念。当我们在用一个连接词的时候，要注意，不是只有动词跟动词之间有连接词，有时候动词相较下，他们也会有他们一定要用的介系词。所以你可以动词、介系词再加一个 and 的连接词，然后后面一样的结构动词、连接词这样子的使用。所以在英文里面，我觉得学习比较难的是你要什么时候用哪一个介系词，这个就是我们看一个要记一个。所以在这边我们可以同时记两个 ：learn about 学习和什么相关，还有 work with 就是工作和什么相关。
因为对于像在讲中文的朋友们，你会觉得怎么很像突然停掉了，就是学习关于和跟着什么什么的那种的方式，如果是用中文的逻辑去想，确实是有一点奇怪。但是在英文，我们如果先看那个动词跟它搭配的那个介系词，看到 and 的话，我们就知道我们要等到最后才知道他们是在讲
整个句子要怎么翻译。
没错，所以这是一个要习惯性的一个东西。好，Let's continue. He was famous for giving generous gifts to the needy people of his town and for performing miracles.
所以呢，这个人，这个我们圣人，他呢就是以慷慨赠送礼物给镇上的穷苦人们，还有施展神迹闻名而被知道的。
Right. So generous, this adjective, it means that you're very you're
大
very
方。
Yeah, you're very caring and you give people
很慷慨。
anything, right? You're someone who likes to give. Okay, and then needy, this adjective means people who maybe don't have a lot of things and they need things. Okay, these are needy people. And then performing miracles, perform usually in Chinese we would
表演。
表演, right? In this situation, it can also mean carry out, 执行, okay? 它执行了还是制造出了一些 miracles.
展现出他的奇迹。那 needy 在这边其实还有另外一个，除了当穷苦人以外，也有说很需要别人帮忙的人，或者是很黏人的人，我们也可以说他很 needy。
如果是男女朋友的话 ，if 那个男生一直会打电话给女生说，
你在哪？
你怎么不来陪我？什么的，这个时候可以形容他是很 needy 一个男朋友。OK， 好 ，Let's take a short break. Traditionally, giving gifts on Christmas comes from the celebration of Saint Nicholas's name day on December 6th or December 19th.
所以传统而言，在圣诞节给礼物的这个习俗是源自于12月6日或者是19日的时候，庆祝这个圣尼可拉命名日。
Right, so here Nicholas, it already ends with an S.
Yeah.
So when we're going to say that there's an apostrophe and then an S, you read it like this. Let's do it without the apostrophe S first. You read Saint Nicholas.
Saint Nicholas.
But 如果是他的东西是 Saint Nicholas's.
Saint Nicholas's.
Yeah, 有多一个 sis 在后面, okay? I know it sounds weird to have so many S sounds, but we have to really emphasize that to let people know that you're saying it belongs to him. It's a possessive way of saying it. Okay? All right, and then here when we see a date like December, and here we see 6, right?
Yes.
But anytime you see a date, make sure that you say December 6th, okay? Or December 19th. Okay, it is the 6th day or the 19th day. A lot of my friends will say December 6th or December 19th. Okay, so it's just something to pay attention to.
所以在这边看到日期的时候要注意，虽然我们这边的日期它只给你一个数字，但在念的时候一定要用序数的念，所以 first, second, third, 1、2、3，那之后的基本上都是加 th， 有这个的音。
Okay, in many countries, Christmas activities begin on this day.
那在许多的国家，圣诞节的相关活动就会从这一天开始。
Right. So begin, we could also use the word start. Okay. And every time around this time period, I get really excited because Christmas is one of my favorite holidays.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I love to give gifts. So I guess I am a generous person.
Yeah.
Right.
Saint.
Yeah. Are you a needy person?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get you a small gift. Okay, let's go to the review. Minnie 老师,
Yeah?
What does it mean by someone who is well known?
Just like us, 有名的人。
Famous people, right? All right, what do we mean by legend has it that?
那就是代表说据说、传说的意思。
Santa Claus is a cheerful man. What is cheerful?
他是一个充满欢乐、欢喜的人。
it is said that he is very big. Okay, so it is said that.
就是传说、据说，跟我们刚刚的那个 legend has it that 其实有点类似。
对，然后如果是 it is said， 后面是如果是要讲一个动词的话，是 is said to， 然后一个动词，然后原形动词。OK， 好 ，What do we mean by in part?
That means partly 部分里。
部分 and partly is P-A-R-T-L-Y. Okay, what does it mean by this was inspired by a true story?
就代表说这个的灵感是来自于哪里 ？Inspire 就是一个灵感。
And Saint Nicholas was very religious.
他非常的虔诚。
And then when you give gifts to people who are needy, who are these needy people?
就代表他是非常困苦的人，需要帮助的人 ，needy people.
Right. And then what are miracles?
代表奇迹，我每天都在等的东西。
Right. So, well, Santa Claus on a sleigh with flying reindeer, that is a miracle.
Yes.
Right. Okay, and what do we mean by traditionally?
就是以传统来说，传统的。
Exactly. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, and hope to see you for tomorrow's lesson. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
第42页文化之窗双面圣诞节
The Two Faces of Christmas. Christmas is one of the most widely celebrated holidays in the West. A well-known symbol of the event is Santa Claus, also called Saint Nick. Legend has it that Santa Claus is a cheerful old man with a thick white beard. He dresses in a red suit and brings gifts to good children on the night of December 24th. He is said to travel around the world in his sleigh with the help of his flying reindeer. This character was in part inspired by a real-life saint from history. Saint Nicholas was a bishop in the 4th century. He was Greek, and he lived in the town of Demre, which is now part of Turkey. He was very religious and spent all of his life learning about and working with the church. He was famous for giving generous gifts to the needy people of his town and for performing miracles. Traditionally, giving gifts on Christmas comes from the celebration of St. Nicholas's name day on December 6th or December 19th. In many countries, Christmas activities begin on this day.